Hi, I'm Cody. This is the lovely Hannah, and today we're going to be talking about what an anterior pelvic tilt is, hoping you don't have it, but how to determine if you do have one, as well as a couple things to fix that. The anterior pelvic tilt is when your pelvis dumps forward due to a number of reasons. Now, this typically comes about from people sitting at their desk all day, from being on the computer all day, sitting at home, sitting in your car, pretty much all day, you're causing this issue. So the first thing we're gonna do is show you kind of what that looks like, and then I'll talk a little bit about it. So I'm gonna have Hannah go ahead and turn facing away from me. Do you mind if I place my hands on you? Thank you very much. Always gotta ask. So if you look at her waistband, if her waistband is tilting forward, you could use a mirror to easily identify this. You see a little bit of, not a little bit, it's actually a pretty excessive back arch. Now, normally you have a little bit of arch in the spine, which is fine, it's a natural curve. When you start to notice that your waistband or your pelvis is just dumping forward and you start to feel a lot of tension in your low back, typically is a sign of when you notice this happening. That is due to a number of reasons. You can go ahead and get out of that horrible position.
Oh, yeah, it hurts.
So typically how this comes about, these muscles get really tight from being in a contracted position the entire time. So you have overactivity here, which causes for a lot of pain. How you can work to fix that is by strengthening your core and by strengthening your glutes. So as you draw the core in, your TVAs, your abdominals, and as you squeeze the glutes to extend the hips, it'll help even out the hips a little bit so your hips become less tilted. So I'm gonna have Hannah go ahead and sit down on the floor for me. And we're gonna demonstrate one exercise to kind of determine if you're progressing in your core strength exercises, your booty workouts, all these different kinds of things that will help to offset this anterior pelvic tilt. So she's gonna get into a dead bug for me. So her knees will be right at 90. If you notice, her low back is touching the floor. Everything is engaged here. You might notice that even in this position, your low back's not touching the floor. That means there should be some other modifications of exercise that you can take to start working on fixing this issue. Now from here, if you wanna start progressing and strengthening the core as well as seeing if you're progressing, you can start bringing those hands back just a little bit, bring those feet out just a little bit. So as you lengthen those levers, you start to put a little bit more stress on the core musculature to hold the stability. So she can keep going and going. And once you notice that low back starts to come off the floor, that's where you want to stop. So come back just a little bit. And this is where the exercise should be performed at. Once I can slide my hand under, she needs to bring it back in just a little bit until her low back touches the floor. You come from a dead bug and you lengthen the levers into what's known as a hollow body. This exercise, go ahead and rest. It looks simple, but it is a hard exercise, but it will help you to offset that anterior pelvic tilt and hopefully limit some of those aches and pains that might be associated with that. Good job.